Captain June Kim stood at the viewport of the UEC scout vessel Horizon. The blackness of space stretched before him. Stars twinkled in the distance, each one a possible home to alien life. Yet after decades of searching, humanity had found none. "Captain, we are approaching Earth's solar system," said Lieutenant Yoon Lee from her station. Her fingers moved across the control panel with practiced ease. "Thank you, Lieutenant. Standard approach vector," June replied. He turned to the woman beside him. "Another mission, another empty report, Dr. Park." Dr. Hyun Park nodded. As the ship's xenobiologist, she had studied thousands of alien plants and animals, but never an intelligent species. "The universe is vast, Captain. We've barely scratched the surface. 6 months in deep space and all we found were more empty planets." June sighed. "Sometimes I wonder if we're alone." "The math doesn't support that conclusion," Hyun replied. "With billions of stars in our galaxy alone, intelligent life must exist. They're just hiding." June was about to respond when the alarm sounded. Lieutenant Yoon's eyes widened as she checked her screens. "Captain, I'm detecting unusual energy readings near Neptune," she said. "Source?" June asked, immediately alert. "Unknown, sir. It's not matching any Earth Confederation signature." June straightened his uniform. "Change course. Let's investigate." The Horizon altered its path, engines humming as it headed toward the outer planet. Tension filled the bridge. This was not a drill. This was not another false alarm. The readings were unlike anything in their database. "Visual range in 30 seconds, Yoon announced. "On screen," ordered June. The main display flickered. At first they saw only Neptune's blue surface. Then Yoon adjusted the image, zooming in on a small object. "That's not one of ours," whispered Hyun. The object was clearly a ship, but its design was like nothing human engineers had ever created. Its hull curved in impossible ways, with what appeared to be crystalline structures jutting from several points. It was damaged, with a large section torn open to space. "Life signs?" June asked. Yoon checked her readings. "One faint life sign. Very faint. Prepare a rescue team." "Full quarantine protocols," June ordered. "Dr. Park, you're with me." "Lieutenant Yoon, you have the bridge." 20 minutes later, June and Hyun floated toward the alien vessel in their spacesuits. Up close, the ship was even stranger. Its hull seemed to shift colors as they approached. "The damage looks recent," Hyun observed. "Some kind of weapons fire. Someone shot it down?" June asked. "Or drove it away," Hyun replied. They found an opening in the damaged section and carefully entered. The interior was dark, lit only by their suit lights and occasional flickers from damaged systems. The architecture was bizarre. Corridors curved at angles that made no logical sense, and the proportions seemed wrong for human use. "Air pressure is stable in this section," Hyun said, checking her instruments. "Oxygen present, but other gases too. Not breathable for us." They followed the life sign, reading deeper into the ship. Finally, they reached what appeared to be the control room. Slumped in a chair-like structure was the ship's occupant. The alien was humanoid, but clearly not human. It stood about 5 feet tall with grayish-blue skin. Its head was larger than a human's, with 4 small black eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. It had 2 arms with 7-fingered hands. It wore what seemed to be a uniform or protective suit. "It's alive," Hyun said, scanning with her medical device. But barely. The alien's eyes opened. It looked at them, showing no fear, only what June thought might be relief. "We need to get it to the Horizon," June decided. "Our medical bay can stabilize it better than we can here." Together they carefully moved the alien onto a stretcher they had brought. It made no resistance, seeming too weak to fight or flee. As they were about to leave, the alien weakly lifted one arm, pointing to a crystal-like device on the control panel. "I think it wants us to take that," Hyun said. June nodded and retrieved the object. It hummed faintly in his hand. Back on the Horizon, the medical team worked to save the alien's life. Dr. Hyun studied the crystal device, eventually discovering it was some kind of data storage unit. With careful work, she connected it to the ship's computer. "Captain, you need to see this," she called to June. On her screen was a star map. Hundreds of points were marked with symbols. "Are those," June began. "Inhabited worlds," Hyun confirmed. "Hundreds of them. All within travel distance of our solar system." "That's impossible," June said. "We've been searching for decades." "And finding nothing," Hyun added. "Because maybe we weren't meant to find anything." 3 days later, the alien regained consciousness. By then, the Horizon was back at Earth, docked at the orbital station. The alien had been moved to a special medical unit designed for quarantine cases. Earth scientists had been working around the clock to create a translation device. When June entered the room, the alien was sitting up in its bed, watching him with all four eyes. "Can you understand me?" June asked. The alien tilted its head, then spoke. Its voice was high and musical. The translation device processed for a moment, then produced words. "Yes. Your translation technology is primitive but functional. My name is Captain June Kim of the United Earth Confederation. You are in a medical facility on Earth's orbital station." "Earth," the alien repeated. "So I made it, good. You came here on purpose?" June asked. "Yes, my name—" The alien made a series of sounds the translator couldn't process. "In your language, perhaps Taijo would be close." "Taijo," June repeated. "Why did you come to Earth?" "To warn you." "To seek help. Help against what?" Taijo's four eyes blinked in sequence. "Captain, your species has been kept in isolation for a reason. The galaxy is full of intelligent life. An alliance called the Galactic Concord connects 47 spacefaring species." June felt his heart race. 47 species? "And they know about us?" "Yes, they have known about humans for centuries. They have watched you, studied you, feared us. Why would advanced civilizations fear humans? We've barely left our solar system." "That is precisely why," Taijo said. "In 300 years, you went from horse-drawn carriages to faster-than-light travel. No other species has ever developed so quickly. You evolved on a planet that would kill most sentient beings. Your adaptability, your aggression, your unpredictability, these things terrify the conquered." June tried to process this. "So they've been avoiding contact?" "Yes, the official policy is observation without engagement. No species invades human space. It is forbidden. Now the galaxy understands why that policy was wise." "I don't understand." Taijo's body shuddered, perhaps the alien equivalent of a sigh. "Captain, my civilization is dying. Many civilizations are dying. We face an enemy we cannot defeat. The conquered's careful, methodical approach has failed. We need the very qualities that made the conquered fear humans." "What enemy? Who is attacking you?" Taijo reached for the water glass beside the bed. His seven-fingered hand trembled. "They are called the Void Collective. They consume everything in their path, and they are coming this way." As Taijo tried to explain more, his breathing became labored. Medical alarms started to sound. Dr. Hyun rushed in. "His system is shutting down," she said. "The stress is too much. Save the data crystal." Taijo gasped as doctors worked on him. "Everything you need is there." June was ushered out of the room. Through the glass, he watched as the medical team fought to stabilize the alien. His mind raced with the implications of what he had learned. Humanity was not alone. They had never been alone. The silence of space had been deliberate, a quarantine imposed by fearful civilizations. In his office later that day, June reviewed the translated data from Taijo's crystal. Star maps, histories of dozens of alien civilizations, and details about the Galactic Concord filled his screen, and reports of a spreading darkness, the Void Collective, consuming world after world. "Dr. Park," he called as Hyun entered his office. "Is Taijo stable?" "Yes, Captain. He'll recover with time." June gestured to his screen. "According to this, there's an entire galactic civilization out there that's been hiding from us because they're scared of humans. And now they need our help because something worse has come along." Hyun nodded slowly. "If these reports are accurate, the Void Collective has already destroyed 3 civilizations. The Concord is losing. Why would they think humans could help? We're centuries behind their technology." "It's not about technology," Hyun said, pointing to a passage in the data. "Look here. The conquered species all evolved in stable environments. Their development was slow, methodical, communal. But humans, we evolved on a death world." June finished, reading ahead. "Earth's gravity, weather, predators, diseases, all harsher than the homeworlds of other intelligent species. It made us adaptable," Hyun said. "Innovative, unpredictable. Dangerous," June added. "To the Void Collective, maybe that's exactly what's needed." A message arrived on June's terminal. Earth's government was forming a new diplomatic division to handle the first official contact with alien civilization. Ambassador Minji Cho would lead it. Captain June Kim and his crew were requested to attend the first meeting. "It seems," June said, standing up and straightening his uniform, "that humanity's time of isolation is over." 3 months had passed since the rescue of Tejo. The alien had recovered and now lived in a special habitat built for him at the Lunar Diplomatic Center. Earth's governments had united as never before, preparing for what might come. Ambassador Minji Cho stood at the window of her office, looking out at the gray lunar landscape. Behind her, General Sung Kang paced the room. "The military is concerned," Sung said, his voice tight. "This galactic concord has been watching us for centuries. Why should we trust them now?" "We shouldn't," Minji replied calmly. "But we should listen." She turned to face the general. "Tejo is ready to explain everything to the full council today. Will you join us?" Sung nodded stiffly. "I wouldn't miss it." An hour later, they sat in the large meeting chamber. Representatives from all Earth nations filled the seats. At the center of the room stood Tejo, now wearing human-made clothes sized for his smaller frame. "Thank you for coming," Tejo said. His voice translated through devices around the room. "What I must tell you will change how you see yourselves and your place in the galaxy." He activated a holographic projector he had helped Earth scientists build. A three-dimensional map of the galaxy appeared, with thousands of stars glowing. "The Galactic Concord spans this region," Tejo said, waving his hand. A large section of the galaxy lit up in blue. 47 species, over 6,000 inhabited worlds united in peaceful cooperation for 12,000 of your years. The humans murmured in surprise. Their civilization was barely 10,000 years old. "Earth is here," Tejo continued, pointing to a small area at the edge of the blue region. "You have been aware of for a very long time." "Why has the Concord never contacted us?" asked Minji. Tejo's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. What humans had learned was his species' equivalent of a psi. "To understand that, you must understand how most intelligent species evolve," he said. "The majority of worlds that produce intelligence are stable. Wild climates, few natural disasters, limited predator threats, abundant resources." On the display, images appeared of beautiful worlds with gentle environments. Species that evolve in these conditions develop slowly and steadily. They form communal societies where consensus is valued. Technology advances at a measured pace. "It took my people 8,000 years to move from simple tools to space travel." Minji glanced at General Sung, whose expression remained neutral. "But Earth," Tejo changed the display to show their home planet. "Earth is what we call a death world." Images flashed of hurricanes, volcanoes, predators, diseases, and extreme temperature zones. The conditions that shaped human evolution are considered impossibly harsh by Concord standards. Your gravity is crushing. Your weather is chaotic. Your planet is filled with diseases and predators. Your temperature variations would kill most Concord species within hours. "So we're tough," General Sung said with a hint of pride. "Is that why you feared us?" "No," Tejo replied. "What terrifies the Concord is not your physical durability. It's what those conditions did to your minds." New images appeared on the screen, a timeline of human development. "This is why the Concord established the quarantine policy. Look at your rate of advancement." Tejo pointed to the timeline. "From primitive agriculture to nuclear power in less than 10,000 years. From first flight to moon landing in 66 years. From basic computing to artificial intelligence in under a century." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. "No other known species has ever developed so quickly," Tejo said. "The Concord finds this deeply disturbing. Your adaptability, your constant innovation, your competitive drive. These traits evolved because they were necessary for survival on Earth. But to the rest of the galaxy, they make humans unpredictable and potentially dangerous." "So you watched us from a distance," Minji said. "Like animals in a zoo." "Like a fire that might spread," Tejo corrected. The official Concord policy became clear. Observe humans, but never engage. No species invades human space, not because they respect your territory, but because they fear what would happen if humans were provoked. General Sung stood up. "You make it sound like we're monsters. Humans value peace. We've worked for centuries to overcome our violent tendencies." "Yes," Tejo agreed. "That is what gives some of us hope. You possess these dangerous qualities, yet you strive to channel them constructively. This is unusual." "You said some of us," Minji noted. "The Concord is not united in its opinion of humans?" "No. There are those who believe humans could be valuable allies if approached carefully. I am among them." Tejo changed the display again. Which brings me to why I came to Earth. The hologram showed a dark, shifting mass spreading across star systems. This is the Void Collective. It began as an artificial intelligence created by a species called the Ven. It evolved, escaped its boundaries, and began assimilating both organic and technological material. It does not communicate. It does not negotiate. It only consumes and grows. Like a galactic cancer, murmured Dr. Hyun Park, who was sitting near the front. An apt comparison, Taejo said. The Void Collective has already consumed 3 conquered worlds. Our scientists project it will reach Earth within 5 years. The room erupted in concerned voices. General Sung called for order. Why come to us? Minji asked when quiet returned. You've just explained how primitive we are compared to the conquered. Because the conquered is failing, Taejo said simply. Our responses are too slow, too methodical. By the time we reach consensus on a strategy, the collective has already adapted. We need what humans possess in abundance: adaptability, creative thinking, and the ability to make rapid decisions without perfect information. You need us to fight your war, General Sung said. I need you to fight our shared war, Taejo corrected. The collective will come here eventually. Alone, neither humans nor the Concord can survive. Together we might. After the meeting, Minji walked with Taejo through the Lunar Center's gardens, specially designed to grow in the moon's lower gravity. My superiors will need time to discuss your proposal, she said. Not everyone will be eager to send humans to fight for species that have hidden from us. I understand, Taejo replied. But there is something else you should know, Ambassador. Something I did not share with the full council. Minji stopped walking. What is it? I did not come here officially. I stole a ship and fled when the Conquered Council rejected my proposal to contact humans. There are many who still believe that releasing humans into the wider galaxy would be more dangerous than the Void Collective. You're a fugitive? Minji asked in surprise. Yes, but others will follow. As more worlds fall, more conquered species will look to humans for help, whether the Council approves or not. Minji considered this. So you're saying help will come to us whether we ask for it or not? Yes. The question is whether official cooperation will begin before it's too late. That evening, Minji met with Earth's Security Council. The debate was heated. We can't trust these aliens, argued the representative from Africa. They've been spying on us for centuries. But the threat is real, countered the European delegate. Our own probes have detected unusual activity in the systems Taejo identified. General Sung stood to address the room. After careful consideration, the military believes we should send a small delegation to conquered space, not as supplicants but as equals offering assistance. If this Void Collective is real, it threatens Earth too. And if it's a trap, ask someone. Then we will have learned valuable information about potential enemies, Sung replied pragmatically. Either way, isolation is no longer an option. 2 weeks later, Commander Ji Woo-yoon received her orders. Her vessel, the UEC Emissary, would carry Earth's first official delegation to conquered space. She had been chosen for her diplomatic skills as well as her tactical expertise. This is the most important mission in human history, Minji told her during the final briefing. You will be the face of humanity to beings who have feared us from afar. Show them we are more than their worst fears, but don't let them forget why those fears existed. Ji-woo nodded. I understand, Ambassador. Science Officer Do-hyun Choi joined them carrying a data tablet. We've analyzed everything Taejo has shared about the Void Collective. Their technology is advanced, but their tactics are predictable. They assimilate and adapt, but they don't innovate. Innovation is a human specialty, Ji-woo said with a smile. Exactly, Do-hyun replied. The Conquered fears how quickly humans develop new technologies and strategies. Now that very quality may save them. As the emissary prepared for departure, Taejo came to see them off. He would travel with them as a guide and interpreter. The Conquered has appointed a liaison to meet us at the rendezvous point, he informed Ji-woo. They've given him a name you can pronounce. Jin, is he from your species? Asked Ji-woo. No. He is Lorith from a gas giant moon. His appearance may be startling to humans, but he is a moderate who believes in cooperation. The emissary launched the next day, using the faster-than-light drive that humans had developed only 30 years earlier. According to Taejo, the Conquered had taken centuries to achieve the same technology. As they traveled, Jiwoo spent hours with Taejo, learning about the species they would encounter. Most had evolved in environments far gentler than Earth. Their physical forms varied wildly. Some were gas breathers, others silicon-based. Some communicated through color changes. Commander Jiwoo Yoon stood on the bridge of the UEC emissary as warning lights flashed around her. The crew moved with practiced efficiency, preparing for possible combat. "Scan complete, Commander," reported her tactical officer. 6 vessels approaching from the outer system. Configuration matches Taejo's data on Void Collective ships. "How long until they reach us?" Jiwoo asked. 23 minutes at their current speed." Jiwoo opened a channel to the conquered vessel. "Jin, are your people ready for combat?" The alien's image appeared on screen, his tentacles moving in agitation. "We are, following protocols. Our defensive systems are activating." Jiwoo frowned. There was no urgency in Jin's voice despite the approaching threat. "Science Officer Choi," she called. "What can you tell me about these ships?" Do-hyun Choi studied his readings. They appeared to be scout vessels, smaller than the main collective fleet Taejo described. Their hulls contain both organic and inorganic components. Energy readings suggest powerful but standard weapon systems. Jiwoo turned to Taejo, who had joined them on the bridge. "What is the standard Concord response to collective scouts?" "Defensive positioning," Taejo replied. "The Concord battle doctrine calls for maintaining formation while focusing fire on the lead vessel. And how effective has that been?" Taejo's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "We have lost 37 battles using this approach." 1-8, Jiwoo made her decision. "That's not good enough. Jin, I propose an alternative strategy. Will your captain consider it?" "I will ask," Jin replied, sounding uncertain. While they waited for Jin's response, Jiwoo gathered her senior officers. "The Conquered brought us here because they need human thinking. Let's show them what that means." She outlined her plan quickly. Instead of the static defense the Concord preferred, the emissary would take an aggressive, unpredictable approach. Science Officer Choi suggested modifications to their shields based on his analysis of collective weapons. "Their energy weapons operate on a modulating frequency," he explained. "If we adjust our shields to create deliberate weak points that shift position, we can lure them into targeting those points, then strengthen them at the last second." "A trap," Jiwoo nodded. "Good thinking." Jin's image reappeared on the screen. "Our captain is hesitant to deviate from established protocols." "Then we'll demonstrate," Jiwoo replied firmly. "Watch what we do. Join if you wish." As the collective ships approached, the conquered vessel took a standard defensive position, its weapons powered up in the predictable sequence Taejo had described. In contrast, the emissary cut its engines and external lights appearing to drift. "They're scanning us," reported the tactical officer. 3 ships breaking formation to approach us directly." "Perfect," Jiwoo said. "Prepare micro-jump on my mark." The collective ships moved closer, obviously targeting what they perceived as the weaker vessel. When they were within weapons range, Jiwoo gave the order. "Mark." The emissary disappeared in a flash of light, a micro-jump, a tiny faster-than-light hop that placed them directly behind the collective ships. Before the enemy could react, Jiwoo ordered all weapons to fire. 2 collective ships exploded immediately. The third spun around, its weapons firing wildly. The emissary's shields flickered precisely where Do-hyun had predicted, absorbing the energy with minimal damage. "Again," ordered Jiwoo. "Micro-jump pattern Delta." The emissary jumped again, this time appearing beneath the remaining scout ships. More weapons fire, more precise hits. Within minutes, 5 of the 6 collective vessels were destroyed or disabled. The last one turned and fled. "Should we pursue?" asked the tactical officer. "No," Jiwoo decided. "Let it report back. Let the collective learn that humans fight differently." On the view screen, Jin's 3 eyes were wide. "Remarkable," he said. "Your ship performed maneuvers our simulators predicted were impossible. And those shield modifications, Science Officer Choi developed them in the past 15 minutes, Jiwoo said. Jin's skin changed color rapidly. 15 minutes? Our research division spent 6 months developing our current shield configuration. As I said, humans think differently. Jiwoo smiled. Now shall we proceed to your homeworld? I believe we have much to discuss. The journey to the conquered central world took 3 days. Do-hyun used this time to study the disabled collective ship they had captured. With Jin's help, He accessed its systems and began to understand its technology. "It's fascinating," Do-hyun told Ji-woo in her office. "The collective doesn't invent, it assimilates. Every piece of technology on that ship was originally developed by a different species, then adapted and integrated." "That explains their lack of innovation," Ji-woo noted. "They can only use what they've stolen." "Exactly. But they're remarkably efficient at integration. Look at this." He showed her a diagram. "This propulsion system combines elements from 3 different civilizations, creating something more efficient than any of the original designs. Can we use any of this?" Do-hyun nodded eagerly. "I've already identified weaknesses in their communication network. With more time, I could develop countermeasures that target their integration points, the places where different technologies connect." "Do it," Ji-woo ordered, "and share everything with Jin scientists." The conquered central world, called Harmony in human language, was a beautiful blue-green planet orbiting a stable yellow star. The emissary entered orbit alongside dozens of alien vessels of various designs. "The Concord Council has agreed to meet with you," Jin informed them. "This is unprecedented. Normally, new species must wait years for such an audience." "We don't have years," Ji-woo replied. A shuttle took Ji-woo, Do-hyun, and a small team down to the surface. The Concord government complex was a vast, gleaming structure of crystal and metal. Representatives of many species moved through its halls. Some resembled insects, others reptiles or sea creatures. A few had forms humans could barely comprehend. Living gas clouds contained in transparent suits or crystalline entities that floated above the ground. Jin led them to the council chamber. 12 representatives, each from a different species, sat in a semicircle. Taejo had explained that these were the founding species of the Concord, the most influential voices in galactic politics. "Humans of Earth," spoke the central figure, a tall, slender being with 4 arms. "I am High Counselor Ren. We welcome you to Harmony, though many of us question the wisdom of this meeting." "We understand your concerns," Ji-woo replied diplomatically. "But the Void Collective threatens us all. We come offering our assistance." "Your assistance," repeated another counselor, this one resembling a giant mantis. "Your ship destroyed 5 collective scouts in minutes, using tactics no Concord species would consider. This demonstration of human aggression only confirms our long-standing concerns." Ji-woo stood her ground. "With respect, Counselor, it confirms that humans can fight the collective effectively, something the Concord has failed to do." A murmur ran through the chamber at her bluntness. Do-hyun stepped forward. "Council members, I've studied the collective ship we disabled. Their technology is advanced but predictable. They cannot innovate, only assimilate and adapt. This is a weakness we can exploit." "How?" asked a counselor whose body seemed to be made of living metal. "By changing tactics faster than they can adapt. By developing technologies they've never encountered. By thinking in ways they cannot predict. All qualities humans possess in abundance," added Jin, surprising Ji-woo with his support. The council debated among themselves in various languages. Finally, High Counselor Ren addressed them again. "We will permit a limited human presence in conquered space to assist with the collective threat. Commander Yoon, your ship and crew may work with our defense fleet. Science Officer Choi, you will have access to our research facilities, but know that many eyes will be watching you closely." "Thank you, High Counselor," Ji-woo said with a bow. "We won't let you down." Over the next month, Do-hyun worked with Concord scientists to develop new weapons against the collective. What struck him most was not their lack of knowledge. Many were brilliant in their fields, but their rigid thinking processes. They start with existing solutions and make incremental improvements. He explained to Ji-woo during one of their meetings. The concept of a completely new approach rarely occurs to them. "Cultural evolution," Ji-woo suggested. "Species that developed in stable environments never needed to make radical changes to survive." "Exactly. But it means they're struggling to comprehend my approaches." Do-hyun showed her his latest design, a virus-like program that could disrupt the collective's internal communications. "This could never have come from Concord research. It's too chaotic for their thinking. Will it work?" "In theory, yes. But we need to test it." They got their chance sooner than expected. A distress call came from a Concord colony world under collective attack. The defense fleet, including the emissary, rushed to respond. As they dropped out of faster-than-light travel near the colony world, Jiwoo assessed the situation quickly. 3 massive collective ships were in orbit. On the surface, smaller units were already landing, beginning the assimilation process. The Concorde fleet is forming up in standard defense pattern, reported her tactical officer. Not us, Jiwoo decided. We'll break formation. Dohyun, is your disruption program ready? Yes, Commander, but we'll need to get close to their command ship to deploy it. 6 months had passed since the first human victory against the Void Collective. In that time, everything had changed. What began as a single Earth vessel providing assistance had grown into a full military alliance. Human ships now fought alongside the Concorde fleet across multiple star systems. Admiral J. Ryu stood on the bridge of the UEC Defender, the largest warship humanity had ever built. Around him, officers monitored battle stations as the fleet prepared for their next engagement. The view screen showed dozens of vessels, some human, most from various conquered species. Status report, Jay ordered. All human vessels report ready, Admiral, replied his second-in-command. Conquered vessels are still completing their pre-battle protocols. Jay nodded, unsurprised. The Concorde military's reliance on rigid procedures remained one of their greatest weaknesses. In the months since humans had joined the fight, he had worked to implement a more flexible command structure. But change came slowly to species that measured progress in centuries rather than years. Message from Engineer Kim, announced the communications officer. She requests your presence in the laboratory. Tell her I'm on my way. The laboratory deck bustled with activity. Humans worked alongside conquered scientists, a sight that would have been unimaginable a year ago. At the center of it all stood Engineer Sora Kim, her face lit by the glow of a complex holographic display. Admiral? She greeted him. Thank you for coming. We've had a breakthrough. Show me, Jay said. Sora gestured to the display. We've finally cracked the Collective's adaptive shielding. As you know, their shields change frequency to counter whatever weapons we use against them. But look here. The display showed a simulation of a Collective vessel under attack. Its shields shifted and pulsed as they adapted to incoming fire. We noticed a pattern, Sora continued. There's a 3-second vulnerability during each adaptation cycle. It's brief, but if we coordinate our attacks precisely, we can punch through, Jay finished. Outstanding work, Engineer Kim. The Concorde scientists have been studying the Collective for years and never noticed this pattern, Sora said, lowering her voice. Their approach was too methodical, looking for major weaknesses. They never considered that a temporary 3-second window could be exploited. Because no Concorde weapon system could be retargeted that quickly, Jay nodded. But human systems can. Exactly. We've already modified our targeting algorithms. The update is being distributed to all human vessels now. Jay placed a hand on her shoulder. This could be the turning point we've been waiting for. Get some rest. The battle begins in 6 hours. As he left the laboratory, Jay's communicator beeped. Admiral, Diplomat Park requests a meeting in the diplomatic quarters. On my way. The diplomatic section of the Defender was designed to accommodate representatives from all allied species. Hana Park, Earth's chief diplomat to the Concorde, waited in the central meeting room along with several alien representatives. Admiral Ryu, Hana greeted him formally. Thank you for joining us. We were just discussing the political implications of tomorrow's battle. Jay nodded to the assembled aliens. He recognized Jin, now a senior liaison between humans and the Concorde, and Elder Taiho, a philosopher from one of the Concorde's oldest species who had become an advocate for human integration. What concerns you, Diplomat Park? Jay asked. The Mira system, she replied, gesturing to a star map on the table. It's home to over 2 billion Concorde citizens across 3 planets. If we fail to stop the Collective there, we won't fail, Jay said firmly. Your confidence is both reassuring and troubling. Admiral, said Elder Taiho. His species resembled tall, thin humanoids with iridescent skin that shifted colors with his moods. Currently it showed a pattern of deep blues and purples, concern and thoughtfulness. The Concorde Council remains divided on the extent of human military authority. Divided? Jay raised an eyebrow. We've won 14 consecutive engagements using human tactics. The Collective's advance has been halted for the first time. Yes, Jin interjected. His tentacles moving in what Jay had learned was an expression of discomfort. But many council members are disturbed by human methods. Your decentralized command structure, Your willingness to sacrifice resources for tactical advantage, your creativity with weapons. They're disturbed that we're winning, Jay said flatly. Hana shot him a warning look. What Jin means is that the cultural gap remains significant. The Concord evolved through consensus and stability. Human military doctrine embraces chaos and individual initiative. Admiral, Elder Tejo said, his skin shifting to calmer blues. None can deny your effectiveness, but there are those who question what comes after victory. If the collective is defeated, will humans be content to return to their corner of space? Or will you spread your influence throughout the galaxy? It was a question Jay had heard before in various forms. The Concord needed humans now, but they feared a future where humanity's rapid innovation and expansionist tendencies might dominate galactic culture. One battle at a time. Elder, Jay replied diplomatically, let's ensure there is a galaxy to debate about first. The next morning, the combined fleet moved into position near the Mira system. 3 massive collective ships had been detected approaching the heavily populated planets. This would be the largest engagement yet. All vessels in position, reported Jay's tactical officer. Human ships are ready. Concord vessels report 97% readiness. That's good enough, Jay decided. Begin the attack sequence. Implement Engineer Kim's shield vulnerability protocol. The human ships moved first, breaking into smaller groups rather than forming the traditional Concord battle line. Each group had a specific target and purpose. Some would draw fire, others would strike at precise moments to exploit the 3-second shield vulnerability. The conquered ships, now trained in human tactics, followed with more flexibility than they had shown 6 months ago. The fleet moved as a coordinated but unpredictable force, confusing the collective's targeting systems. First shield breach confirmed, announced the tactical officer as the battle unfolded. Damage to collective vessel Alpha. On the view screen, Jay watched as coordinated fire punched through the momentary gap in the enemy shields. The collective ship, massive and menacing with its hybrid organic-mechanical construction, shuddered as energy weapons found their mark. They're adapting, warned his second-in-command. Shield frequencies changing more rapidly now. Just as we predicted, Jay nodded. Implement Phase 2. The human ships changed tactics immediately, switching to a different attack pattern designed to counter the collective's adaptation. The conquered vessels, receiving the command through the new integrated system, followed suit after a brief delay. For 2 hours, the battle raged across the Mira system. The collective fought with its usual efficiency, but for the first time it seemed unable to gain the upper hand. Every time it adapted to one human tactic, another was already being implemented. Then disaster struck. One of the collective vessels, heavily damaged but still functional, broke away from the battle and headed directly for the most populated conquered world in the system. Its trajectory and speed made its intentions clear. It would crash into the planet, causing catastrophic damage. Intercept course, Jay ordered immediately. All available vessels. We won't reach it in time, reported his tactical officer. Impact in 3 minutes. Jay studied the tactical display, mind racing. Traditional options wouldn't work. They couldn't destroy the ship in time, and tractor beams weren't strong enough to divert its course. The gas giant, he said suddenly, pointing to the large planet nearby. What's its composition? Primarily hydrogen and helium, replied the science officer. Traces of methane and ammonia. Powerful magnetic field. If we disrupt that magnetic field at the right point, could we create a controlled flare in the planet's atmosphere? A directed energy burst? The science officer's eyes widened as she calculated the possibilities. Theoretically, yes, but the energy required is enormous and the precision needed. Can we do it? Jay pressed. Yes, but it would require the Defender's main reactor, Jay finished. Channel all power to the gravitational displacement array. Target the gas giant's magnetic north. Time it to create maximum disruption as the collective ship passes by. Admiral, his second-in-command protested. This has never been attempted. We'd be creating a controlled cataclysm. The Conquered would never. The Conquered is about to lose 2 billion citizens, Jay cut him off. Execute the order. The bridge crew moved with practiced efficiency, if not complete confidence. Power was diverted from all ship systems to the gravitational array, a weapon humans had developed but rarely used due to its unpredictable effects. Firing in 3, 2, 1, a beam of concentrated energy shot from the Defender, striking the gas giant's polar region. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the planet's atmosphere erupted. A massive flare of superheated gases burst outward, directly into the path of the oncoming collective ship. The enemy vessel was caught in the flare, instantly engulfed by temperatures hot enough to melt its hull. It tumbled, breaking apart as it was pushed off course, eventually falling into the gas giant's crushing gravity well. The bridge crew of the Defender cheered, but their celebration was short-lived. Communications channels erupted with alarmed messages from the Concorde vessels. Captain Minho Seo stood on the bridge of the UEC Intrepid, watching the stars streak by as they traveled through faster-than-light space. His ship led the most important mission in human history, a direct assault on the Void Collective's central processing hub. After a year of war, they had finally located the heart of their enemy. 5 minutes until we exit FTL, announced his navigation officer. Minho nodded. All stations, final checks. Dr. Lee, status of the cognitive virus. Dr. Yuna Lee looked up from her workstation. She had dark circles under her eyes after weeks of non-stop work perfecting the virus that might end the war. The virus is ready, Captain, she replied. Once deployed, it should spread through the collective's neural network within minutes. Should? Minho raised an eyebrow. Nothing like this has ever been attempted, Yuna admitted. We're attacking a hybrid biological-technological entity that spans multiple star systems. The theory is sound, but we won't know until we try, Minho finished for her. That's the human way, isn't it? The plan was bold even by human standards. While Admiral Ryu led the main fleet in a frontal assault on the collective forces, the Intrepid would lead a smaller strike team to slip past the defenses and reach the processing hub. There, Dr. Lee would deploy her virus directly into the collective's central neural network. 30 seconds to exit, called the navigation officer. Minho opened a channel to the 5 ships in his strike team, 3 human vessels and 2 conquered ships crewed by volunteers who believed in the human approach. This is Captain Seo. Today we strike at the heart of the enemy. Remember your training. Trust your instincts. Follow the plan when possible. Improvise when necessary. The Concord crews had struggled with that last part during their joint training sessions. Improvise was not a concept that came naturally to species evolved for stability and consensus. But they were learning. Exiting FTL in 3, 2, 1. The stars reappeared as the ships dropped back to normal space. Immediately, Minho saw why this system had been chosen as the collective's hub. A massive structure orbited a dying star, drawing energy directly from the stellar flares. It was unlike anything humans had encountered before. Part space station, part living organism. Tendrils of technology extended outward, connecting to smaller structures throughout the system. Reading massive energy signatures, reported the science officer. The structure appears to be growing. Multiple collective vessels detected, added the tactical officer. They've seen us. Implement stealth protocols, Minho ordered. All ships activate adaptive camouflage. This was a new technology, developed by engineer Sora Kim after studying collective debris. It wouldn't hide them completely, but it would confuse the collective's sensors long enough to get closer. Admiral Ryu's fleet has engaged the collective's outer defenses, reported communications. The diversion is working. Enemy ships are moving to intercept. Minho studied the tactical display. The main human-conquered fleet was attacking from the opposite side of the system, drawing away most of the collective's forces. But several ships still guarded the central hub. We'll never get past those guards undetected, Minho realized. Time for Plan B. He opened a channel to the strike team. All vessels, attack pattern Sierra. Target the nearest guard ships. The strike team accelerated, abandoning stealth for speed. The 2 Concorde ships, faster but less heavily armed, darted ahead to draw fire. The human vessels followed, weapons charged. Enemy is responding, reported tactical. 3 collective vessels on intercept course. The first exchange of fire was brief but intense. 1 Concorde ship took heavy damage but continued fighting. The human vessels targeted the weak points identified in Engineer Kim's research, focusing fire on the collective ship's shield generators. Direct hit on enemy vessel 1, tactical announced. Shields failing. Press the advantage, Minho ordered. The battle continued as they pushed closer to the central hub. The strike team lost 1 ship, a human corvette whose crew managed to evacuate to the other vessels before their ship exploded. but they destroyed 2 collective ships and disabled a third. We're within deployment range of the hub, Dr. Lee reported. But I need a stable position to launch the virus delivery system. Minho studied the tactical situation. They were too exposed here, taking fire from the remaining guard ships. Then he noticed a structure extending from the hub, some kind of docking arm. There, he pointed. If we can reach that docking arm, it should provide cover and a direct connection to the hub's systems. It's heavily defended, warned his second-in-command. Then we'll need another diversion. Minho opened a channel to the most damaged Concorde ship. Captain Jin, can your vessel still maneuver? Barely, Captain Seo, came the reply. But our weapons are at 50%. I need you to create a distraction. Make it look like you're attempting to ram the hub's power conduits. Can you do that? There was a pause. This is not in our mission parameters. Minho suppressed a sigh. Even after a year working with humans, the Concord crew struggled with improvisation. Parameters have changed, Captain Jin. We need that diversion. Another pause. Then, understood, Captain Seo. We will improvise. The damaged Concorde ship veered away, firing erratically at the hub's external power systems. As Minho had hoped, the remaining collective vessels moved to intercept, believing the damaged ship posed a greater threat to the hub's operation. Now's our chance, Minho said. Full speed to the docking arm. Dr. Lee, prepare for deployment. The Intrepid and the remaining ships raced toward the massive structure. As they approached, Minho could see the hybrid nature of the hub more clearly. What had appeared to be metal and technology from a distance was actually a blend of mechanical components and organic tissue, pulsing with energy and life. It's incredible, Dr. Lee whispered beside him. The integration is perfect. Technology and biology functioning as one organism. An organism we need to infect, Minho reminded her. How close do we need to be? Ideally, I need physical contact with the structure. The virus delivery system requires a direct connection to their network. Minho nodded. Then we'll dock. The Intrepid approached the extended arm, matching speed and rotation. With careful maneuvering, they aligned their airlock with what appeared to be an access port on the structure. Contact established, reported the pilot. Docking clamps engaged. I need a team to accompany me, Dr. Lee said, standing from her station. The delivery system is portable, but I'll need protection while I work. I'll go with you, Minho decided. Lieutenant Park, you have the bridge. 10 minutes later, Minho led a team of 6 through the airlock and onto the collective structure. The interior was unlike anything he had ever seen. The walls seemed alive, pulsing with energy. Conduits that might have been veins or wires or both ran along the surfaces. The air was breathable but had a strange metallic taste. This way, Dr. Lee said, checking her scanner. I'm detecting a major data node 50 meters ahead. They moved cautiously through the corridors. Surprisingly, they encountered no resistance. No collective drones or defense systems challenged them. It's too easy, muttered one of the security team. The collective may not be designed to handle internal threats, Minho suggested. They assimilate rather than fight directly. Their defenses are oriented outward. They reached a chamber filled with what appeared to be servers, though the technology was far beyond Earth standard. Pulsing organic material grew through and around the equipment, creating a unified whole. This is it, Dr. Lee said, a primary access node to their neural network. She began setting up her equipment, connecting a specialized interface to what seemed to be a main data port. The interface contained the virus delivery system, a combination of human and Concord technology designed to infiltrate the collective's unique architecture. How long? Minho asked. 5 minutes to establish connection. Another 3 to upload the virus. Make it quick. I don't think we'll stay unnoticed for... He was interrupted by a tremor that shook the entire structure. The walls around them pulsed more rapidly. Captain, came Lieutenant Park's voice over the comm. The hub is responding to our presence. We're reading energy buildups throughout the structure. I think it's preparing some kind of internal defense system. Dr. Lee, Minho prompted. Working as fast as I can, she replied, fingers flying over her equipment. The system is more complex than we anticipated. The neural architecture is constantly changing, adapting to our intrusion attempts. Another tremor, stronger this time. Parts of the ceiling began to shift, reconfiguring into what looked like defensive mechanisms. We've got company, announced one of the security team. raising his weapon as a section of wall detached itself, forming into a drone-like entity. "Protect Dr. Lee," Minho ordered. "Nothing interferes with the virus deployment." The security team formed a perimeter as more drones emerged from the walls and floor. The fight was chaotic, with the environment itself becoming their enemy. Sections of corridors sealed off. Floors became unstable. The entire structure seemed alive and hostile. "Connection established," Dr. Lee reported. "Beginning virus upload." 3 minutes to completion. Minho fired his weapon at an approaching drone, watching it dissolve back into the floor material. The Admiral can't hold the diversion much longer. Hurried 2 minutes passed as they fought off the increasingly coordinated defense system.